To take control of your stress, you don't need another productivity hack. You need to fix your capacity equation. And I'm going to share with you exactly what that means so that you have more breathing room in your days. This is especially important if you have chronic pain, an autoimmune disorder, you're grieving, or there's something that is taking away a lot of your extra capacity that you would normally have, or you just never going to have again, but it's just your reality. So, capacity. We want to look at this really strategically. And essentially what it is if you think of all of the resources you have over the course of a day, that's your capacity, right? And you have resources to do, to think, to feel, and to be. Okay. And so be is just like your essence, your habits, everything that kind of gets all rolled up into one. And your capacity equation is essentially how many resources you have available to you minus how many resources you use and the way in which you use them. There are a certain number of things you need to do in a week, and there's only so much capacity that you have. And at some point you start to realize it's not that you're a failure, it's that the math is not mathing, okay? The math ain't mathing. And this is hard to swallow, but it's like there's always going to be more to do than you actually have capacity to do. And expecting you to get to the end of the list is like one of the biggest reasons that you can feel like a total failure when it comes to feeling your stress and how on top of things you are. It's like there's a point in time when you actually just realize there's more to do than I have capacity to do. So I got to figure out how I'm going to fix this mismatched equation. My resources minus how many resources I use and the way in which I use them, is if they make me feel energized or do they make me feel drained. And this is the strategy that we want to deep dive into. If you are operating with your capacity equation basically at 0 or below, meaning you only have so many resources, you're requiring way too many resources, and you're doing them in a way that's draining you, eventually you're going to burn out, go on stress leave, end up quitting your job, losing your job because things are falling through the cracks, whatever it may be. If you really want to live a fulfilling and productive life and feel in flow, we got to fix this capacity equation. If you think about all the resources you have, and if you do have chronic pain like I do, or an autoimmune that is stealing your capacity, what happens is anywhere between 10 and 50 or 75% of your daily capacity is gone to battling your invisible thing that nobody even knows is happening. So now we got to look at how you are playing Tetris, essentially is what it is. Remember that game Tetris? Playing Tetris with your life. And often we know this intuitively, but writing it down and looking at it and being really strategic is key. And it's what I do with my clients. So how do we fix this? Well, you only have a few options. Number one, you can delete things out of your list, out of your capacity equation. Stop doing it. And I used to really resist this when people would say it to me, because I'd be like, I don't want to stop doing it. I like doing what I'm doing. I want you to take away my chronic pain so that I can do what I want to do. But having said that, there are probably things that you're doing, just like there are things I'm doing, that we don't need to be doing. So let's delete them, get rid of them. And I challenge you to find one thing. Think of one thing when you're like, you know what? If I didn't do that, I'd probably have more capacity in my life. And I'm thinking like, a few weeks ago, I chose to delete Facebook and Instagram from my phone. That was something that was draining my energy, draining my capacity. And so I deleted it, put a system in place, and lo and behold, better. Second thing we can do is we can delegate. Now, when I'm working with leaders, I'm like, okay, why are you doing that? That's not your responsibility. That's not your job. And they're like, but my team is already overloaded. So I get it. Because a lot of people are like, I'm fine, I just delegate everything away. Well, that's awesome. But if the people who are picking up your delegation are totally overloaded and their capacity equation is mismatched as well, then all you're doing is throwing your angst onto their plates. And that's not really healthy for the entire organization. And then there are other people I work with, they're like, I don't have the team. Either they can't find the right people, they don't have the budget to hire a person who can do it, or it's legitimately something that they need to do. You can't delegate your brilliance. You can't delegate the things that require your body or your absolute presence. Sure, there's AI, but it's not the same as you doing it. Okay? So delegating, great. Yes, think of one thing that you could be delegating to somebody else. So far, we can delete and we can delegate, but the magic is in doing it better. And by doing it better, I mean that you streamline your stress reaction, streamline your systems so that the way that you're doing something will use fewer resources. And ideally, if we do this right, it will actually amplify and energize the resources you have available to you. Remove the angst. Essentially, how good are you at playing Tetris with the things that are in your capacity equation? For example, let's say you have a quick call that you have to make, but you're avoiding it because you just don't have the focus time and you don't really want to talk to that person, or you don't want to give them bad news. And so you're trying to avoid and you don't get it done. Let's say it's a 15-minute call, but you've procrastinated on it for a week. You have aggravated the situation by just not delivering the bad news in a clear and succinct way. You are thinking about it at night. Oh, shoot, I forgot to call so-and-so. Does the 15-minute call really, is that what's draining you? Or is it all of the capacity sucking behaviors, the thoughts, the feelings about the thing that you have to do, what actually is draining your resources? This is where we want to get so strategic, because I have seen my clients fix their capacity cylinder and create that breathing room that so desperately want in their life just by recognizing and doing a few really simple strategies. If you've been looking for solutions for your stress for a long time, you've probably come across a whole bunch of different modalities. And they're going to feel very familiar in this moment, because now, how do we do what's in the cylinder better? To do things better, we have to look at how are we divvying up our resources to do, think, feel, and be each and every day. And when it comes to doing, those are the system hacks, the productivity, the ability to really look and leveraging AI, leveraging different tools to be sure that what you're doing, if it can be done in 10 minutes, but it's taking you an hour, we got to figure out what that gap is and figure out how to streamline it. So that's where you need the productivity and the systemization. That's only part of it, because there's also the thinking. And again, if you've been down this road of personal development, then you know that's really around your mindset and how you're actually thinking and talking about things. Example, if you know you have a really intense week coming up, if you're saying this week is going to be awful, it's going to be hell, I'm going to be so exhausted, there's no way I can deal with it. Well, that's your mindset. That's the thoughts that you're using. And what feels more draining? How is it going to drain your capacity? If you're just neutral about it and you're like, oh, I got a lot on my plate this week. Yeah, like you do every week. It's a lot easier. So this is the mindset game that we got to play with our reframing. And then the feelings, well, that's your emotional intelligence. That is tapping into our emotions. And what I often find in my work with my private clients is that a lot of times our emotions, it's not that we're not emotionally intelligent or don't have any emotional discipline. It's that things get stacked onto the wrong issue, or these assumptions and expectations based on how we've shown up for decades in our lives. We start to just assume that that's how everything else is going to go. And this is what really screws things up with us emotionally, and then ends up draining our capacity even more. And then when you look at the B part of the capacity equation, these are the habits. This is your essence. This is your ability to show up and the way you do it. If you have a tendency to worry, then that is going to make everything that you do harder to do, because you're going to worry about it, and that steals capacity. If you look at all the things we need to do, and provided you can't actually get rid of all the things that you need to do, if you think about how you're thinking about what you need to do, how you are feeling about it, and how you are showing up to do it, that's how we get your capacity cylinder so dialed in so you can do it all, but it steals fewer resources. So much better. Yeah. It's the only way to right size your capacity equation. So, where do you start? Easiest place to start is by thinking about a repeating moment of angst. If you're always late for meetings, if you are always forgetting certain things, if you're finding that doing proposals is draining your capacity instead of lighting you up and being excited, if you have, I'm just thinking some of the ones I've had to deal with myself. Like, when I'm going to speak at a conference, I know they're going to need a headshot, a bio, an intro bio for when they introduce me on stage, a write-up for the program book, and maybe even a video that goes with promoting the keynote. So I just have those now all set aside in a folder, completely ready to go to send out. Whereas before I used to go hum and hum, which headshot am I going to take, and rewrite my bio, and now here it is, it's done. But it was a repeating moment of angst that was draining my capacity, and it didn't need to be. And if you identify one thing that is a repeating moment of angst, and then you just put it down on a piece of paper and look at it very objectively, and how do I solve for that one thing? Because often when we think about getting our stress under control and feeling like we're in control, we're never really in control, but the essence of I'm on top of everything. When you right size your capacity equation, it's rarely achieved by huge leaps and bounds, finding 10 hours in a month that you didn't have before. Sure, there are ways you can do it. If you need to delete something, maybe you're on a committee that doesn't light you up anymore and we're going to delete it, well, then it's probably, then you get back 10 hours a week. But where the success I found in the day-to-day with my clients is 5 minutes here. It's 10 minutes here. It's 15 minutes here. It's not being late for everything. It's not putting our meetings back to back to back to back. Then you're at the end of the day and your head is spinning because you haven't had any time to think in between meetings. These are the little bitty wins that actually will create the most space in your capacity cylinder. When you right size your capacity equation, and you do that by being very strategic about where you're spending your time and how much do you have to do, are you doing it the best way possible? Are you doing it in a way that lights your soul or that drains your energy? Really looking at that, not by living on default, but starting to live by design. Figuring out, what can I delete? What do I want to delete? Because sometimes we said yes to things 3 years ago and they no longer are serving you today. And that's okay. What are the things I can delegate? And if I'm not able to delegate, is it because I'm taking too much responsibility for how something is done? Is it because I don't have the resources and the people to delegate to? Or is it because your team is just as overloaded, if not even more overloaded than you are? In which case you may want to have me come in and work with you and your team directly. That's a possibility. And then really looking at this, how am I doing everything? Is there a better way to play a game of Tetris when it comes to my capacity? When you do, I have seen lives and families' lives transformed by doing this exercise. So I'm super excited for you that you are one of the people who is committed to right-sizing your capacity equation. Let me know in the comments what you're going to delete, what you're going to delegate, and what is one repeating moment of angst that you can be strategic about how you deal with it so it stops draining your energy. Start there, and we'll see what happens from there. But my hope for you is that you will stress less while achieving even more, but being happier while you're doing it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.